All right, hello everybody, and welcome to a first-person view cast here. I know the quality is going to suck, but it's worth it. Hang around. The reason the quality is not that great is this is a stream of none other than Mio Mica, the Vietnamese cheese master, the guy who 2-0'd Maru during his year of dominance. One game which involved him building 2 Hydralisk dens so he could make both Hydra upgrades at once. I kid you not. And killed Maru with a Hydralisk, a 2-base Hydra Zergling bust. Just he does the dumbest, greatest builds out there. After 4 years of pro StarCraft, being the #1 player in Vietnam, one of the top players in Oceania, rest of Asia, and often the rank 1, rank 2 player on NA ladder, he just learnt how to put down a creep tumor in the last season of DreamHack Masters. I kid you not. Me and Maynard and Zeph witnessed him actually spread creep for the first time. We're not sure if he's a genius or he's deranged. We know that he has some amazing micro. He doesn't know what half the upgrades do in the game because we assume, or he's decided they're just never worth getting. He will sometimes sit on 40 drones for like 20 minutes and just keep making Mutalisks. Like he always wants to kill you, and he does a lot of things that don't make sense. Now, his account he's playing on is Ban Han Cho M. I'm mispronouncing it terribly, Vietnamese, but it doesn't have accents on the way he's written the letters, right? I imagine he's just using an English client or something. So we tried to Google translate this as I loaded into this game. We got onion cake for me, sell me onion cake, happy for you, bless you. Depending on how I accented it and how I put it into Google Translate, there was like 10 different things. And I even asked Dot to come in, since obviously she grew up speaking Vietnamese with her family. And she was like, well, it depends. I don't know. It could mean this. It could mean that. I'm going to go with his account is onion cake for me, please, or something like that. Because that, just anything to do with, I don't know what an onion cake is, but I like the sound of it. So he's opening up here. He's got a few Zerglings moving out. And it looks like, this is a Terran player, it looks like he's playing against. So Terran player, he sees the reactor, the factory, his overlord's gonna hang out over there. His Zerglings looking for an opening. He sees the Reapers there, and the Reaper coming across the map, which means his Zerglings could kill that SCV. So classic way to punish a player who's not SCV scouted. With his pool first, he never goes hatch first, by the way, almost never. It's usually almost always pool first, no matter what matchup. And he looks for a way to do damage with his Zerglings. Now, he tries to distract the Reaper, and the other Zergling goes right back in. The Reaper's running south. The Reaper's dodged him, guys. The Reaper's dodged him. So his Zergling runs in. He's going to go after the SCV there. Oh, nice micro from this Terran player. Once again, apologies for the quality, guys. It is, we can only do so much. We're restreaming it, which will add a very small amount of, stuff, but it doesn't look great on my screen either. Let's just put it that way. His settings aren't the most amazing. Looks like the bitrate's struggling a bit, which is why it gets a little blurry on creep and so on. But he's trying to go what appears to be a pretty quick lair. He's got a second gas on the way. Was that a Roach Warren he put down? It was an Evo chamber, right? So what he almost always does versus Terran is rushes melee and then tries to run speedlings in. So every season we get to see him do this versus Seether in the tournament circuit, and Seether just has units like wedged in his mineral line, playing the most conservative he ever could. Mio almost always goes melee upgrades over carapace upgrades, and once again, guys, he's spreading creep. I'm telling you, this is the new Meomaika where he pretends he knows how to macro. It's kind of surprising and weird. It makes me a little uncomfortable. He's going 2-base Hydralisk with melee upgrades up against Terran. Well, 3-base, I should say. 3-base Hydras. He's opening Hydras versus Terran, guys. You're not meant to do this. Hydras are a really fragile, expensive unit, but they do have great damage. And glass cannon armies are exactly what Meomaika loves. He loves high damage. He doesn't like making Banelings if he can get away with it. And if he's playing Hydra-ling, we might get to see his famous Hydra-ling Infestor style, which he basically says, who needs Banelings? I just have Infestors for my splash damage. So I'd love to see that. He builds a second Hydra Den, cancels it, so it looks like that was a mistake. Realizes he's already got one, and he's going to inject that hatchery. Now, we can see that he does not use camera locations. You can see his control groups over there. So he's got all of his hatcheries on 4, and then it looks like his natural's on 5 and his third base is on 6. So to jump between his bases, notice he's scrolling a lot and he's double tapping 5 or double tapping 6, I believe, to actually jump to his different base locations. So yeah, definitely he's got like what I call ghetto control groups. I used to do the same thing in the early days of StarCraft 2. Suboptimal, but that's okay. Actually, wait a second. Let's see. He just jumped. Did he jump by clicking on the minimap? No, yeah, he's double tapping. Yeah, he's double tapping 5 and 6 to jump natural or third. There's no way for him to jump to his main, funnily enough, guys, because he doesn't have that on its own control group. So I think if he doubles, unless it chooses the lair. So maybe when he double taps 4, it goes to the lair? Dude, I don't even know. Anyways, so he's going Hydra-ling. He's once again prioritizing gases really hard, and he's going to do it. Infestation pit. Oh, okay, so this is the funnest style, guys. It's so funny though, because if the Terran realizes what you're doing and doesn't get hit by any fungals, you have the most fragile, piss-weak army that has ever been seen. You land the 1 or 2 good fungals on the Marines that are clumped, and your Hydras and Lings get the right engage, and you can crush their army. So it's so inconsistent, but he's a master at making it work. He's going to catch that drop, clean that one up. I do think he went melee. And he did, yeah, he's gone +1 melee, now he goes +1 range. He's getting the second Hydra upgrade now to join with those Hydras, which, oh, Liberator comes on in there as well. Did he just make a Hive? Fuck's he making a Hive for? He's got like 55 workers. He's gonna run in with his Zerglings. He actually gets a decent area on the Marines. I don't know if the tanks should have unsieged there, maybe. What's he going to Hive for? Is he going to rush Ultras or Vipers or something? Okay, so he's not going Infestors. I think because the Terran's already building tanks and playing very turtly, he's just thinking about Vipers? He's trying to split Lings onto the tanks. This is not a great attack. It's a very Mio Mica attack though. Notice he doesn't use control groups on his army. He just F2A moves across the map. And then he just manually controls. He's got great micro, but no army control groups whatsoever, guys. None at all. Which is why if the Terran can just defend the frontal attacks and do little attacks to just pinprick him in the backside, it's so hard to defend if you don't use army control groups, because you need to manually split your army constantly. And his main way of controlling the army, every time he does that F2, oh, he was just trying to, he just misclicked a few times. But every time you do that, it's going to pull your drop defense away. So this is going to be absolutely insane. If the opponent can start dropping him, and notice he keeps running Zerglings in. So this is one of his favorite things to do, is just throw Zerglings in, pick off exposed workers, throw Zerglings in, pick off exposed workers. And because he blends that with actually committed Hydra-ling assaults, you're always on high alert. I'm telling you guys, I cannot beat Mio for the life of me. It's very rare I take a map off him. And it's because you never know, is this a real assault or is it you just running Zerglings into their death? Because he will do both. And you never know if it's a kill move or if it's him just effing around. And you're like, which one is it? And he's like, no, I just want to trade 10 Zerglings for 4 SCVs. And you're like, okay, fair enough. That's a good trade for you. But then there's times where you don't respect it. And then another 80 Zerglings and Hydras come in and you're like, what? I don't think this is a good fight for him though. Oh no. Mio there, pretty bad judgment on that fight. He's going to lose all those Hydras and Lings. And this is what I'm talking about. Oh my god. He's F2ing his army back and forth to deal with a drop. Now, what's the Hive being used for, guys? Did he just literally use that for adrenal glands? Because he has no armor upgrades, by the way. He's on single Evo, right? Wait, did he get a second Evo in his natural, maybe? I don't think he... If he doesn't have Carapace upgrades, it actually hurts me. Carapace is the most important thing for Zerglings versus Marines. But, yeah, no, he's just going Ultras with no armor upgrades. What? He's so insane. He's like, but I have Ultras at 9 minutes. And I'm like, but you don't have anything else. I can't believe it's working, though. The Terran is trading Marines out. He's got, by the way, like I said, guys, I told you guys he's learned how to spread creep recently. Notice how after the 6-minute mark, he hasn't spread a single tumor. He's like, yeah, I spread 4 creep tubers. If they get killed, Nah, man, no way. Come on, mate. Come on. We got to be serious here. We got to deal with this. So the funny thing is, this Terran seems like they're pretty frantic to do damage to him. And I honestly, I don't know if you can kill Mio ever, because Mio always builds such a big army. I think the only way you kill him is by getting to 4 base, 5 base, and chipping at him. So as long as the Terran's going 4th base, 5th base, building up a big army, like, Mio doesn't really have late game. As I said, there's no carapace upgrades. He literally just started +3 melee to go with his adrenal chitinous plating Hydra-ling Hydra. No carapace upgrades. So there's 2 ways this goes. He gets us around, gets the surface area, and kills the Terran army faster than you've ever seen. Or he doesn't quite get this around, and his Lings and Ultras are gonna fucking crumple because they are made out of paper. Even the Marines are doing decent damage because they've got +2 attack. Oh, but there's not much Terran there. There's Liberators, though. There's a lot of tanks. Oh, good stutter step on the ramp. Oh, this Terran, I think, cleans this up. Does he, though? The Ultras, they get... Oh, my God. More Ultras coming in. 4 more Ultras. 5 more Ultras came in. How does he have so many Ultras? Oh, my God, he's going to break him. He's going to break him. There's just enough Hydras to kill the Liberator. I can't believe this worked. Who needs carapace upgrades? Oh my God, Mio Mica is such a ridiculous player. These Lings are more fragile than you've ever seen. He's like, you know, Lings just die to splash damage anyway and stuff. Like, why bother getting carapace? I'm like, what? And it's working. He's cracked him. I think he's cracked it. Almost all of his Ultras are gone. But if he can just clear one of these mineral lines, that's enough. And he's going to clear the natural and the 3rd. Yeah, it's more than enough. He's got it. Oh my God. He clears the whole natural, most of the 3rd. He'll get these guys on the way out as well. All the depots. Oh my God. And oh, the Widow Mines. Just absolutely chaotic style. And he misses so many of the things that give you advantages in the later stages. But if you're not used to playing against that, and you'll see it says +2 on the Ultra, that's the chitinous plating is 2 armor. So he's got +2 armor from that, and that's it. And he's saying, no, like, just have enough damage. Just numbers. And as long as he keeps fighting in the mid-game, he's good. And this is why we've seen a very specific meta where Seether, he cannot beat Seether. He beat him one time. Seether kind of messed up that series recently. But other than that series, because Seether's played against him and lost to him so many times in tournaments in the early days, but then plays him every season, Seether is the top Australian Terran, for those who don't know, by the way. What he does is he never leaves his base with tanks, and he has layers of walls. So every single game, because Mio at some point is always going to lose patience and run into you, he will have a wall and another wall and another wall, and there's just layers of tanks, and he'll only move out with very small drops and won't trade any army. Because he's like, if I'm going double upgrades and tank upgrades or something like that, I know the longer the game goes, my upgrade's going to be so much better than his, right? Like, look at this. He's built Vipers, which is incredible. But even that is like, it's like, he's only at 140 supply. He's got 6 bases versus a Terran who he just put back to like 1 base workers. And yet his economy is so bad and his units are so fragile. Dude, he's actually taking so much damage to this lib plus drop harassment. This Terran's fighting his way back into this game. This Terran should have been dead. But this just tells you how little he has behind it. Because it's honestly, it's crazy. And for anyone who's an Age of Empires fan, it's so fascinating. There's something about the water in Vietnam, I think, that it feeds creativity, right? Think of Hoang in Age of Empires. For those who don't know, you know, he's a guy who, not really a top player in terms of like pro abilities or skill or micro. His economy is always an absolute mess. But he fucks up the world champions regularly on the ladder, doing the cheesiest plays you've ever seen. And that's kind of, there's something about these guys where it's like, wow. And that's the same thing with Mio. Chat saying, Hoang's like top 30 on the ladder. On the ladder. But he can't beat them ever in tournaments, can he? And it's kind of the same with Mio, in that Mio, once everyone got used to his style, his results did unfortunately falter a little bit. And that's unfortunate because he's so scary. But I think Probe said it best in his interview, I think the 2nd season this year, when he barely beat Mio. And he was like, we're talking about this game where Mio ended up killing him, but Probe almost came back from being at like a 3rd of the supply. And he was like, Dude, Mio is so good. He's like, it's actually scary how good Mio is. If he just knew how to build a single spellcaster, I would have been dead that game so much earlier. It was a game where he was on Mass Phoenix and Mio kept trying to kill it with Mass Muta Corruptor. And he like had Void Rays to kill the Corruptors and Phoenix to kill the Mutas and then Archons coming in. And Mio's answer was, while being way up for like 15 minutes, to just keep making Mutas and Corruptors and running them into Phoenix and Void Rays. And we were like, don't throw this lead, Mio. He ended up winning because he's just so good at finding an opening positionally. But it's just this funny thing where you're this mixture of frustrated that Mio has this like lacking fundamental skill set. It's the same thing when you watch any very unique player, right? Same with Haas and stuff. We're like, Haas, why can't you just do a macro properly? Like the famous game where a lot of people thought Haas was match fixing because they couldn't believe anyone could give up such a lead. And it was a game versus Maru where he was up 90 supply and Haas ended up losing. They're like, he got supply blocked 4 times while there was no pressure on him. And then he forgot all of his upgrades and he messed this up and that up and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, guys, have you not seen a Haas game? This is, if you make Haas play from behind in a scrappy, cheesy situation, he'll play like a god. But you make Haas play from ahead, he doesn't know what he's doing. And that's actually changed. Haas has gotten a lot better at a standard game in the last few years, but you go back 4 or 5 years, Haas had no idea what he was doing in a standard game. Like, he just couldn't build a standard lead. He just wouldn't make upgrades. He wouldn't build his economy. He'd just kind of sit there and be like, oh, make 20 DTs and run them in and hope it works. Like you could see that he's good at these big, very one-dimensional gambles, and he kind of knows how to make them work and stack up the setup. And it's kind of fascinating, guys. This Terran is literally been on his last legs for so long, but he's actually knocked Mio's economy down to nothing. The problem is, I don't think the Terran will have enough economy, or enough army, I should say, because Mio's economy is down to about 40 workers at this point, which means he's at 140 army supply, soon to be probably 160, and he still doesn't have a 4th base mining. So I think when eventually the Terran is going to take a 4th. He's going to be out of position as he floats that base out right here. And Mio is going to overwhelm him. There's just not enough Terran, I don't think. He's got to save. Pick up. Oh, we didn't pick up the bio. He just doesn't have enough bio. Look at that. Just a pack of lings. Yeah, the Terran just doesn't have any army. He had like 20 Marines and Marauders. He's trying to make a 35 SCV Ghost transition. That was an amazing trade for Mio. So we see Mio here struggling to finish this game off. He's going to make... Did he just make 5 Dropper Lords? Or was that Overseers? Okay, they're Overseers. Guys, here's the alerts. I just realized. Here's the alerts on the top left of the screen. No pro gamer plays with those alerts. They literally just extra noise on the screen. I also realized he's not playing with health bars. He's playing with damaged health bars. Oh, these are such bad settings. Oh my god, does he use the simplified command card? Okay, I don't think he uses the simplified command card at least. These are such bad settings. What's bad about alerts? He's playing too fast. There's no... Our base is under attack. All of these things, you get audio and visual alerts for, the ones you need on the minimap anyway. So all it ends up being is a bunch of just noise on the screen. He's playing too fast. I guarantee you he's not using those at all. They help us as observers see what's popping out because we don't know what he's queuing. But it's just, what do they give you? It's just a lot of extra noise. Kills that. We don't mind very quickly. He doesn't have his Vipers on a hotkey, so he had to box them there. But he's gonna overwhelm. Okay, he gets in there. The tank, the layers of tanks and lives. This Terran does not want to die. Oh my god. Oh, you're dead, mate. You're dead. The Terran will finally die. That tank in the bottom left goes down. He's gonna breach the ramp, is Meomaika. Is he though? Oh my god, this Terran refusing to die. I thought Meomaika was playing the bugs, mate, not you. And still, remember, I don't think he has any carapace upgrades yet, guys. Unless he started them after +3 melee finished. Maybe he has 1 carapace upgrade at this point. Oh my god. You know what's crazy as well, guys? I think the carapace thing, he's like, yeah, I don't need it. because I am planning to use these to drag your tank and Widowmine friendly fire onto your own army anyway. So I actually think this is a big part of Mio's whole philosophy as a player. I think Mio thinks of this in terms of, and this is the Korean ladder, so the MMR is a bit lower on the Korean ladder because there's less players, but rank 45 on the Korean ladder, I believe, because there's no way 5800 is NA. Yeah, this is going to be Korea, because I don't think he can play EU. Damn. So I honestly think he says, if I just have enough Zerglings, I can always surround your army so you can't micro, hold you in place, and drag tank and Widowmine friendly fire onto your own units. It's such a ridiculous playstyle. It's so ridiculous. But it seems to work pretty darn well. So who am I to judge? Mio Mica, I love that he started spreading creep, and then he just never spreads creep past the first few minutes of the game. I love that he still doesn't like carapace upgrades, that he still doesn't use army control groups, except very occasionally he'll put a few units on an army control group, and an absolute monster. Yeah, he's been 6.3k before on, I think that was on NA though. So I know he was rank 1 on NA with almost no games lost for a long time. But GG, that was an awesome Mio Mica match there to show some alternative Zerg versus Terran.